Well, hello, everybody. We are live with a new intro, too. I hope you guys liked it. I spent a lot of time on it. So, for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who missed the intro, this is Instant Insights Live, the show where we answer all of your astrology questions. Every week there's a new theme, and usually, for you guys who don't know, the theme is very much informed by what you guys are asking us in the comments. So I always encourage you guys to leave some comments as well, because that's how we gauge where you guys are at, what you guys are curious about. And we noticed that a lot of you guys were asking about the 11th house, what it's about, the 11th house in your chart and what it represents, how to work with it. And so today is that day to answer all of those questions about the 11th house. With me, I have Sheridan Semple, who's been here on Instant Insights for a few episodes, actually, back to back. And Jaime Goldstein back at it again. Welcome, guys. How are you feeling today?
Good. Excited to be here. I love this show. It's so fun. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here too.
Yeah, thank you so much. And for those of you who don't know, Sheridan and Jaime, here's a few comments that came through Astrologer Connect from one of their clients. So this is a client that got a reading with Jaime, and this is what they said the reading was like. Jaime has clearly reviewed my chart and was able to answer questions that I didn't even think to ask. She's well versed in her subject matter. Jaime is amazing. And this one came in for Sheridan, and they say Sheridan Semple was amazing, insightful, answered all my questions, was super educational, empathetic, detailed, and I just love the reading and definitely recommend her. So you guys are awesome astrologers. I actually haven't gotten a reading with you both yet, and I know that I definitely want to, because I know Sheridan focuses on aromatherapy, which is something that I never worked with at length, and I would just love to get some insights on that. And then Jaime with her Venus superpowers. And I'm definitely curious about what's going on with my Venus this year, because there's definitely interesting things. So maybe Jaime, you're here from me soon.
I love that. I want a reading from you, Joe.
That's awesome.
Likewise.
That's so sweet. You guys are amazing. So for you guys who are new, if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, that's the best way to know when we're gonna go live again. And if you hit the bell button as well, you're gonna get a little ding whenever we're live, so you don't miss the show. And for the regulars who are here every week, if you come in earlier, right before we start, your chances of getting featured are higher. So I always recommend you guys touch base a little bit before the show starts and send your questions. And if you don't know how to send your questions, there are a few ways to do it. You can go to astrologyhub.com/insight. That's the best way to get featured. And you're seeing the link walking across the screen right now. You just send us a little recording of your question, and I'll send it to the astrologer so they can spend some time with it and really give you like a deep dive into your chart. If you're not comfortable with sharing an audio or video recording, you can also come to the live every week on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and just leave your question. We just need the question along with your birth information. So that's the day of your birth, the time, and the location as well. And with that, I think that's all of the logistics out of the way. And I'm really excited for this week's featured question, because the question is such a huge embodiment of what the 11th house is about. I was like, oh my God, you're asking a question, but really you're teaching us a lesson here. And this one came from Adorable, and that's actually her name, and she is amazing. So I'm going to play it right now, and we'll take a deep dive into this question.
Hello, my name is Adorable. That is my name. And my question is centered around a book that I'm writing. This would be a huge dream come true for me. I am working on a book that's centered around blockchain, AI, and spirituality, and would love just advice and support in navigating what happens when dreams come true, what happens when my kind of moving from this place of 15 years of knowledge, then now being in the world, and just the support for my chart that might help me just go through this process in a smooth way and get the support that I need so that I can firmly anchor the dream into reality. Thank you.
Awesome. What do you guys think about that question when you first heard it?
Well, I love the fact that she asked about what happens when your dreams come true, right? Like, not just like, what part of my chart supports me with the book, but that specific question, because that's so powerful, right? That's not something that we think about, like that fear, the intensity of like what happens when our dreams come true, and how do we support that and keep that going, because that's such a thing that we're just not used to, we don't think about. And I think we can feel really like there can be a fear around it, right? We want it so bad, but we haven't made it happen, So I just love that she asked it that way.
Yeah.
I do too, because she has so much Aquarius energy that's such an Aquarius question, like expanding into new realities. And I got super lit up when I heard that question.
Nice. Awesome. And who would like to get us started exploring the answer to that question? Does anyone have a burning answer that they'd like to give right now?
I can jump in. So I would
Yeah.
just say, like, initially, adorable and awesome name is all the angles of your chart, right? Your ascendant, descendant, your midheaven, your IC are all in what we call the fixed signs. But in the astrology I practice, shamanic astrology, we call it the serving self signs. So there's a focus on serving yourself, right? Looking through that lens. And so your midheaven, which is what we think of as like your right livelihood or your right contribution in the world, is Leo. So it's all about like stepping into your divinity in your work in the world, right? Sometimes that's career for people, sometimes it's not, but this is what you're asking about, so it applies for you. And so Leo is the one that's understands and knows, like, I am the divine incarnate, right? I am creator in this physical body. And so I can literally start making things up as I go along, create the life that I'm here to live, that I want to live. So the fact that you're writing this book and bringing, like you said, 15 years of all this knowledge into one place and creating something with that for me just like screams Leo midheaven. So I feel like the angles of your chart, which are really so much about like doing what turns you on, moving towards what you want to create, are really lit up for you. And so I feel like that's very helpful and really helps to bring you towards what you're trying to create. And that when your dreams come true, I think for you, it's just going to feel good, right? It's going to feel like, oh, wow, I'm living my Leo midheaven, and this is like right, and this feels in alignment with me, and it feels good, is what I would say.
Awesome. Jamie?
Okay, I love that, Sheridan. And I love this. I love your chart. You have all this beautiful Aquarius energy, moon, sun, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter here. I mean, you have a Mercury, Venus, Jupiter conjunction. So you have a big message to share that is going to expand people's realities. And Aquarius, right? This connects in with blockchain, AI, spirituality. I'm like, I want to read your book. I'm so curious about it. But what I think is really cool, right? Because you have so much Aquarius energy. This is big picture kind of energy. So I like to look at these bigger cycles. We are coming to completion of a 19-month Venus cycle that started in Capricorn in your third house. That started in January of 2022. And the third house of communication, writing, right? So perhaps this Venus cycle that started in January 2022, that we're kind of at a peak point and coming to completion, helped create some foundation for your writing, for your book. And now this next Venus cycle is going to start in August, when Venus meets the sun in Leo and rises as morning star in Leo. And this is in your 10th house, like Sheridan was speaking about, your sacred contribution to the world. So I can see how this Venus, and you have Venus conjunct your Mercury in Aquarius and Jupiter. So I can see how this Venus cycle could really support that creative energy to let yourself be seen, to let your work be seen. And I love this question, like, what happens when our dreams come true. And to me, just what's intuitively coming is like we expand into new realities, like we expand into living a life that's beyond what we've ever lived before, what we could even imagine. And this is your brilliance as an Aquarius, right? So much Aquarius to actually expand your mind, right? Mercury with Jupiter, like expand your mind beyond what you've experienced of reality before. So I see all this like timeline leaping and timeline jumping. And one more thing to share, when this connects to your 11th house, right? Also one of the things for today, Saturn right now is in Pisces, and Saturn has about a 29.5 year cycle. So probably about 15 years ago, Saturn was moving through Virgo in your 11th house, maybe when you started to really like take in all this knowledge that set you on this trajectory. So on some sense, you're almost at like a full moon, but a full Saturn on that like Saturn cycle that got initiated then that started in your 11th house, perhaps. So I can see something Saturn there helping give you foundation and support with this.
Awesome. And I would love to hear from Adorable, who we actually have her here today, to gain some insight, see how we did, see how that's resonating. So Adorable, welcome to the show.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Hello, everyone. Wow. So both of you did such a brilliant job of just kind of naming, it's a Scorpio rising. So like with Pluto there, I often kind of have just been in this like more of a shadowy place, or even being a fourth house person. There's always just been this kind of like, Sheridan, when you were really speaking to kind of like the self life, I have felt like very much my life has just been self. And I'm like, am I ever going to be in the world? And then so it's like to go from so self to like this book is going to pull me into the world, and I can't go back into my little can't like just I was like, oh my gosh, like what am I going to do once I'm out in the world? It's kind of almost like, how do I be in that? When you mentioned the divinity of the Leo, and like it's almost yeah, I've had glimpses of that, because I've definitely had the 10th house Leo leadership throughout my entire life. I get pulled into that. But I think, Sheridan, what you were getting at too is just like in that divinity that I just live there, and I have to just navigate that newness. And I think there's a little bit of grief that kind of rubs me a little bit when I think about I was this person and now I'm that person. But when you talk about the divinity of it and being in the power, that really helped. So thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm so glad. And I'll just say, like, having the Scorpio rising, you still can have that time that you like go back into your own little world, right? It's not like this is all there's going to be going forward. You know what I mean? You still are going to have Scorpio rising with Pluto right there. So you'll be able to like when you have those angles of your chart, I think it's so much about like doing what turns you on and just keep following that path. So if like sometimes you want to like go in, that's what's turning you on, you can do that. And then when you're ready to like come out, that's what's turning you on, you can do that. Like, right? Because it is serving self. So you'll be able to like follow and navigate that, right? This is what's turning me on. This is what's turning me on now. This is the next thing, right? Like that's the gift. That's your soul path, is to follow that. So yeah. Yay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Jaime, oh my gosh, Jaime, I love that you connected the Venus and Mercury conjunction, because that's always been something I've been fascinated about, as to like how I've been expressing that in the world. And I love how you named so much. I can't wait to look back on this video, because you did such a good job of naming so many things. But I just love, yeah, this big picture energy coming into this new timeline you mentioned, and like how I can kind of leverage this Venusian cycle that I'm going through. Like, yeah, everything's in my 10th house. My 9th house is getting lit up. I'm meeting with a publisher next week. Like there's this energy that's moving. Yeah, I know, right? And so I just love what you spoke to, and like how I can track that cycle of Saturn. Saturn right now has been trining my ascendant, and has been trining Pluto. And I think that's been helpful. And it's been also trining my Neptune. And I think something about in my 3rd house of like words, I guess. So I think I feel like Saturn's such a huge part of me being able to even write this, because there's like an authority about how I'm doing it. And like, I feel like an authority on the subject. And so thank you for helping me look at Saturn in a new way.
I love that. And how this like upcoming Capricorn new moon on this Cancer Capricorn axis is in your 3rd, 9th house, and you're meeting with a publisher. The timing just seems so divine. And just one thing that's coming through with Pluto on your ascendant, you know, in Scorpio, you're an alchemist. Like Pluto on your ascendant in Scorpio, you're probably like just constantly transforming into new versions of yourself, where it's like, if you knew me 2 years ago, you don't even know who I am anymore. I've transformed. And then even like, if you knew me last week, I've like had a whole lifetime and transformed. So you have this energy to constantly keep on transforming again and again and again.
What is the name of the book, Adorable?
It's called Energy Healing 3.0. What blockchain and AI are teaching. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. What blockchain and AI teaches us about healing ourselves and the planet.
Wow. Oh my God. You have to let us know when it comes out, because I definitely will buy that book and I will definitely read it.
I certainly will. Thank you so much, all three of you, and have a great day.
Thank you. I'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye. All right, guys. That was such an awesome question. Oh my God. And I also cannot wait for this book. AI and astrological magic is a huge part of my practice, and like knowing that there's somebody else who's also like doing it makes me feel just so happy. All right, so let's take some questions that came in live now. This one came in a little bit earlier from Wreck and Rally. And they say, my 11th house is Virgo, and my only personal planet, Venus, is in Virgo at 6 degrees and 32 arc minutes. My question is about how can I unlock some Venusian gifts in my life? I think this is a question for Jaime first.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm loving this. I'm just kind of like tuning back into your chart here for a moment. I love that we have another Scorpio rising, and I love this. Venus in Virgo is an energy that I really love, because Virgo is the priestess archetype. So when you have Venus in Virgo, you naturally embody this priestess energy. And Venus in Virgo is the bridge between the as above and so below, the as within and so without. And so when you have Venus in Virgo, right, in the 11th house, just intuitively what's coming to me is gifts of space holding, especially space holding for groups and communities. Like I'm thinking sacred ceremony, moon circles or Venus circles or whatever it is. There's this gift of bringing beauty into community and being that bridge between the as above, so below, being that priestess type of energy. And with this new Venus cycle that's going to start in Leo, right? This is your 10th house, and you have Mercury right on your midheaven in Leo in your 10th house. So you have a message that you're here to shine out into the world. And I can see this new Venus cycle that's going to start in Leo in your 10th house to perhaps to confidently bring out some of those Venus and Virgo gifts that might be space holding, that might be around community. Maybe there's something with herbs and plants or body work or something like that too. So I'm curious if that resonates at all.
Yeah, I'm curious about Sheridan's outlook on that too, especially with since you're an aromatherapist.
Yeah, so first off, I love like all plant medicine for Virgo, right? Just like Jaime was saying, it's that priestess energy, right? That's so connected to the earth as part of like her sacred work. And that can play out in so many different ways, right? It doesn't have to be plant medicine. It can be like art or all sorts of different ways. But so like blue spruce is one of my favorites for Virgo, but really I think you could use any essential oil to serve Virgo. But I'll just say too that you're in the end of your Venus return right now. So just like Jaime was talking about at the in the last question, how we're in the end of this Capricorn cycle and we're about to start into this Leo cycle in August. You're in a Venus return. So it's coming into this time, right, for you of right just before Venus goes retrograde. So I would say that like you can tap into those gifts because your Venus return is a time when you want to take that feminine expression, right? We all have the divine feminine and the divine masculine. You want to take that divine feminine Venus to the next level. So I feel like it's real. This is so perfect that you're asking this right now because you're literally coming into like on your birthday, like this perfect timing of where Venus was connected into the sky around your birth. Like it's changed because you're at the end of the cycle, but it's that energy is alive for you. And so you're in this kind of like this transitioning time with Venus. So it can be this, how do I want to say it? Like be comfortable in like the in-betweens, right? Where that idea of let go of the rock you're holding on to, but you haven't reached the next one that's like the next piece. That place is where there can be a lot of magic and energy for you. And I think that is a way to really tune into and unlock those Venus gifts for yourself.
Yeah, right on. And Rec and Rally also added a comment on top of that, and they say, "Oh my God, I've had a vision of starting an astrology club since Pluto began opposing my sun a few years ago at my farm." So there you go, Rec and Rally. Maybe this is your invitation. Oh my God. Awesome. So next question will be our last one, and that one is gonna be from Lise Soli, who also sent it a little bit earlier today. But before we dive into that question, I'll let Sheridan and Jaime cast the chart and just take a little look at it. I just wanted to touch base with you guys. How are you feeling about the show? I'd love for you guys to let me know in the comments if you have any topics you'd like us to cover in the future, or if there's anything that you're super curious about, or any astrologers that you just absolutely love, or like an astrologer combo that you really want to see tackle these questions. I would love to know. And of course, if you are liking the show, the best way to support us is to leave a like, subscribe, and share with your friends. It's free and it helps more than you can imagine. Like those likes are the bread and butter of YouTube channels. So thank you so much for anyone who leaves a like. I see people in the comments also asking other people to also join in and leave the likes and leave the comments, and I so appreciate it. Like we worked really hard to make this show possible for you guys, and as you know, it's totally free, so that little help goes a long way. All right, guys, so with that, let's get to Lisa's question. And that one, so Lisa asks, I can't seem to figure out how to achieve a settled state of mind. Help. Also, I also have ongoing issues with my elbow, feet, and knees. Maybe some insights on that end as well. Sheridan, would you like to get us started with this one?
Yeah, I realize I just put the incorrect time and location in. So maybe Jaime, if you already have, I need to edit the chart. Sorry.
Oh no, all good. Jaime, are you ready?
Yeah. Okay. I just got your chart up. So I'm just taking a moment to kind of tune in here for a moment. And I'm sorry, I'm just reading your question one more time.
Oh no, we're all good. You can take your time. I'll take some time to read some of the comments. I see that you guys have shared a lot of love for the channel.
I may have. Is it a location Illinois? Do I have the wrong?
Let's see. Lise.
Yeah, that's what I had too, but it's now 12:30 Valleyfield, Quebec. Yeah, so it changed.
Do you have the chart now, Sheridan? Would you be able to get us started, or are you still working it out?
I'm still like putting it in because it's like the one screen's blocking the other screen, so I keep going back and forth. Sorry, almost there.
Oh no, we're all good. We're all good. Ooh, I will take this opportunity to see all of the comments because people are sending some suggestions already. I'm seeing some medical astrology questions, and we actually did have medical astrology in the past with Cameron Allen. He just loves taking those questions, and I know that he'll be back in the rotation very soon. Next week, we'll be actually focusing more so on the Cancer new moon that's coming up soon and what it means in your chart. So if you have any questions about this Cancer new moon and you see that maybe it's like triggering something in your chart and you don't know what that's gonna be like or what's gonna happen, you can send the question over at astrologerhub.com/insight, as always. And one other thing that I also wanted to mention is that you, of course, can book readings with Sheridan, Semple, and Jaime Goldstein. To do so, you just go to astrologerhub.com/Sheridan Connect, and you go straight to Sheridan's page. You can book a reading and ask all of your questions, spend as much time with Sheridan as you possibly want. And same thing with Jaime. To book a reading with her, it's astrologyhub.com/Goldstein Connect. Or you can just go to astrologyhub.com/connect to see all of the astrologers that we have available. So with that, I think that now we are ready, but I see that Rogue Reemerged has sent a question. How can we get a question answered? And for anyone who missed it in the beginning, there's a few different ways. You can submit a question through the form, astrologyhub.com/insight, like I was just saying. That is the best way to get your question featured because it also allows us to contact you if we chose your question, and you can be live on the show with us, like Adorable was today. So that is the best way to do it. The other way is just to join live a little bit before the show goes live, send in your question, because we always come here like about 30 minutes before we go live, and we really sit with all the questions that people have been sending, and we decide one that really resonates with both the astrologer and the theme of the week. So these are just a few of the ways that you can send your question. And you can also just send it in the comments. It's a little harder to get featured if you do that, because a lot of them come through, but that is definitely also another way that you can do it. All right, so I think now we're ready for release. Yes?
Yeah, we're ready.
Awesome. So just reiterating the question, I can't seem to figure out how to achieve a settled state of mind. How can I help myself? Sheridan.
Okay, so like a few different things come up for me in this, right? So first I think of mind, where do I want to go first? I'm going to look at the third house. And your Venus is in Pisces in your third house, casting Goldstein chart, how I do. So for me, the first answer is like dropping into your heart, right? Venus, your divine feminine, is in Pisces, wants to drop into the heart and getting out of the mind, right? So that would be my first like snapshot, quick question, quick answer. Drop into your heart, feel your heart, tune into your heart, that empathy, that place of feeling the feelings, being able to feel everything that is Pisces. Also, your ascendant in Capricorn, to me, kind of going back to the aromatherapy. I don't know if you're into the aromatherapy like me, but plant things, right? Like trees or Capricorn, pines, spruces, firs, right? You could use that as like a medicine that like helps ground you, putting your feet on the earth, earthing, those types of things will like help bring the activity out of the mind, like down into the body, which is so much a Capricorn rising is path, right? To be grounded, touch into things, right? Also, I'll just last add, you have some Gemini is pretty prominent on your chart, and Gemini can be very like in the mind thinking. And so South Node there, your Mars is there. So it's like, how do you, like, I have some Gemini on my chart too. So how do I keep letting that Gemini part be stimulated in some way, right? Like bringing in information, thinking, learning new things, that can kind of let the mind settle because then it has something for the Gemini piece to do. So let's hear what Jaime has to say.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Sheridan. And, one of the first things that caught my attention is, you have your moon at 27 degrees of Sagittarius, conjunct your north node at 28 Sagittarius. And why might this relate to the mind? Because this is where the galactic center is. And anytime you have placements in the galactic center, you are naturally connected to cosmic intelligence, right? You're kind of tapped into the center of the Milky Way galaxy, where so much information is coming from. There's so many light codes being emitted from like the center of what we believe is that black hole, where it's pulling everything in around it in the Milky Way galaxy, but it's emitting an immense amount of energy. And so when you have a placement that's connected to the galactic center, you tend to be a visionary, right? This big thinker, this visionary, someone that can actually expand beyond what our human mind can actually pick up on. So with your moon there, about intuition, right? In the 12th house as well, you're super connected in to this like high voltage galactic information. So I can see that like being one thing of like, wow, it might feel like you're kind of plugged into like electric socket with all this like high intensity energy coming in. And then also you have Mercury, in Aries. And I find I'm an Aries sun as well. I find those that have Mercury in Aries, it's like our mind moves so fast and so instinctually. And I don't have Mercury in Aries, but I'm saying we in general, right? So I can see that you have this mind that's very quick, very instinctual, and super like tapped in. So as a Capricorn rising, I can see the gift of being able to like come into your body, have your feet on the earth, have somewhere for all that like high intensity, like high energy, high vibrational galactic information coming in to ground it. So it's not just like short circuiting through your body. So to have that space to just come into the present moment and into your body to kind of let everything integrate.
Awesome. Lise, if you have anything to add, please let us know in the comments. Did that resonate? Do you have any other follow-up questions? We're here for you. And I know that I said this was the last question, but I saw a question that came through, and I think it's really important to address because it might give everybody something to walk away with. And Laurie Dickinson asks, I've never paid attention to my 11th house, maybe because I don't have any planets there. What can you tell me? So, Sheridan, Jaime, for somebody who's never looked at their 11th house, never thought much about it, they don't have any planets in there, what are some things that they can start to play with to try and understand their 11th house?
Yeah, so just what's coming is, our 11th house is our house of groups, communities, networks. But like the bigger thing is the 11th house is where we find our like-minded souls to bring through our visions, right? Our dreams, our hopes, our aspirations. So archetypally, even if you don't have any planets there, looking at the archetype of that sign that is your 11th house might give you a clue into, gosh, what might be my most aligned community? Those friendships that you can really connect in with, that are going to be expansive, that are going to support like living your most inspired, lit up life to, bring through, like as the group, to bring through a higher vision.
Awesome. Sheridan?
Yeah, I love what you said, Jaime. That's so great. Like, I think about the houses a lot, how Dane Rajar wrote about them. And so he talks about the 11th house is like where we get into the cosmos and we get into the universality of things. And so for me, the 11th house is so much about like consciousness, humanity, right? Like those bigger perspectives that has a resonant energy with Aquarius, even though it's not the same as Aquarius, right? So depending upon, like Jaime said, what sign you have on your 11th house, that would be the place that it would start to play out for you. And that's the energy that you could tune into, because no matter what, even if we don't have planets there, we still all have an 11th house in our charts. So we all have a place that we connect into those bigger spiritual aspects and perspectives. And that energy, the sign that's on that house is how you would uniquely start to step into that greater perspective of life and spirit and all of that. Like that energy is what could help connect you to that.
Great. Awesome. And I see that Lise also asked a follow-up question about elbows, knees, and feet issues. Is that something that we're able to help her very quickly, Sheridan, with some aromatherapy tips? Or is that the type of question that would be more so for like a full-fledged reading?
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely could dive more into it in a full-fledged reading, obviously, but definitely I would say, you know, elbows, knees, right? Like pain, discomfort things. I'm going to go back to that Capricorn rising because those would really be the plants that you would want to use, like those conifers, the trees that have cones. They help pain relief, inflammation. They help like calm and heal and soothe. So pines, spruces, firs, all that kind of stuff, even cedar woods as well. Like those would be things that I would go to, not knowing exactly like what the issues are, but I'm guessing pain and discomfort are there since you're asking the question. But yeah, otherwise then you could kind of dive into the chart with more physical things located with that.
Awesome. Well, Lise, I hope that is helpful. And I think that is it for today. Thank you so much, Sheridan. And thank you so much, Jaime. You guys are always amazing to work with. And I'm so excited about next week. Next week, we'll be talking about the Cancer new moon and what it means for you and your chart. So if you always wanted to ask an astrologer directly, like there's a new moon coming up, I don't know what that means for me, this is your chance to get it answered. If you have a question, you can send it to astrologyhub.com/insight. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure who's going to be with me next week yet, but I believe it's Taylor Schuler and Jaime McGee who will be answering your questions about the Cancer new moon. So if you love them, this is your chance to get to talk to them. And I would absolutely recommend going through the form because then that's the way we can get you to join us in the show and we can make this more of a conversation so we're not just talking at you. A reading is always best when you actually can have a conversation with the astrologer. It's just not like yap, yap, yap. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a blast seeing you all and I see all the love pouring in. You guys are absolutely amazing. So with that, I think that is bye-bye for today. See you guys.